As Pops just said, yeah, about my license plate there, spark plug. Think about this one. I'm from Geary County, so the sticker on it says GE. What else does GE stand for? General Electric, exactly. What makes this license plate even more spectacular is right at the bottom for the personalized place. It says powering the future. You can't make this up. I turned around and sent that to Larry. He turned around and he's like, what? 100% thumbs up. And he mentioned about the Larry the Cable Guy. He was the one who gave me my name, but it wasn't to do the stand-up. It was because I called into a show enough times, got him laughing. I was like, okay, well, this maybe might be something to this. So that's how I got the name from calling into a show, and I took it on a stage name because who wants to hear Michael Threlkeld? Nah, I'll take the spark plug any day of the week, all right? But just to let you know, I am happier than a man from Montana wearing Velcro gloves and a pen full of sheep. Don't you get offended there, right? He's looking at me like, yeah, laugh it up. Now, folks, I got something to tell you. I do have a microphone that's getting caught on the chair. Do got a fear of bathrooms. Now, I've been trying to break that fear. I've used it a couple times tonight here, and I'll tell you why. It starts off basically with some of you women being evil and like to play tricks on your husband or your dad. Give an example of my wife and daughter. When I was a truck driver, I was coming off the road and I'd tell her, make the mistake of telling her, I need to use the bathroom really bad. And she'd go, well, let me use it first. I gotta go pee. I said, go ahead. She goes, all right. So she goes in there. Unbeknownst to me, there was something wrong with the bathroom, and I did not know this. So I go in there, I do my business, I turn around, wash my hands up, I reach for the door, handle falls off in my hand. I'm like, are you kidding me? Now all this is on video. My stepdaughter, she's in the living room videotaping down the hallway, waiting for my reaction. And I'm like, she's like, what'd you do? I said, you know what's going on? No, what happened? I said, the door handle's broke. My wife's coming out of the bedroom laughing like, what the heck's going on? She goes, what'd you do to break the door? I said, you know darn well what happened. Let me out of this doggone thing. If it wasn't bad enough the first time, I made the mistake a second time. Once again, she said, I gotta go pee real quick. So she runs in there. She lines up the toilet with them little snappers you get for 4th of July. I sit down to go to the bathroom and I pop! Hello. For those of you who are in doubt of that ever happening, I'm here to tell you it does work. Another time when I was at home, I made the mistake of using the bathroom once again. And as I sit down to do my business, I hear in the background, fire trucks going off. Really? And the reason I know this had to have been me, because when I was participating in a truck rodeo in Topeka, there was a break in between events during the competition, and my wife and I, we went back to the hotel room. And as we're in there, she used the bathroom, she comes on out, I go in there and I go to sit down and use my business, and just as I'm going, I hear, please evacuate to the nearest stairwell, do not use the elevator. Please evacuate to the nearest stairwell, do not use the elevator. I'm like, are you kidding me? And she's outside that door just laughing away. I said, what the hell are you laughing about? She goes, you coming? I said, you getting? I'm still going. It was like crying out loud. And like I said, being a truck driver, there were places I stopped at and you had to use the bathroom. I had to use it so bad one day, I did not pay attention to any details except sign that said restrooms. I grabbed my toilet paper, ran inside, because you can't trust them things. So I run in there, and I'm looking. Now, what happens when you go to a gas station? Sometimes there's only one bathroom, right? You go in there, lock the door, do your business. So I go in there, and I'm looking. All right, there's nothing on the door, nothing next. All right, go in there, lock the door. No lock. Okay, well, I gotta go. So I go and sit in the stall, and latched it, or so I thought, and you'll find out about that in a minute. And I start going. Next thing you know, I hear a door open up. I'm like, thank God somebody's gonna be coming in here to the next stall. I hear a woman's voice. I'm like, oh, please do not tell me I just went to the women's bathroom here. Well, the good thing for me is, folks, as you can tell, I've got small feet, so I passed it off as looking like a woman in there, but I just kept my mouth shut. She walks on out, and then I decide, well, give it about a minute or two. I go on outside. After washing my hands, The guy behind the counter was looking at me like, what the hell are you doing in there? So I'll like, start looking at the souvenirs down the hallway. And as I'm glancing down and around, I see at the end of the hallway another doorway. But in the top of the corner, it said men's. I look back, sure enough, women. Now look how short I am. Turn around, who looks clear on up there, especially when you eat about 4 foot nothing, all right? Turn around, so I was in the women's bathroom and I'm like, oh my gosh. Now the part about latching the door that I was telling you about, all I could think about was when I was getting all fixed on up, I just brushed the door popped open. Can you imagine if that woman would have chose that stall instead of the one she went in? All I could do was sit there and look at her and go, these bathrooms are pretty clean, I really like them in here. And that's exactly what I would have told the guy that was at behind the counter if he'd asked me the same thing. But you turn around, you get that, and it's like, you just can't win for losing. Now, another one that I had a problem with is, I don't know who designed these motion lights, but he needs to have his ass whooped. I stopped at a rest area in Illinois for the night. It was 10:30 at night, had to use the bathroom real bad. I go in there. Now I'm sitting there just waiting and doing my business. Next thing you know, the lights goes off. Really? I'm waving my hand and I'm so damn short I can't even set the sensor off. I'm like, oh wow, I'm glad I got my phone for at least a little bit of lighting here. Now, I don't know who this guy was, but I personally don't think he'll ever stop at that rest area again. Because as I was sitting there, he came in to use the bathroom and turns the light on. I was like, thank you! I bet that guy did his business all the way back out to the truck. It's like, oh my word. So yes, you just get them awkward moments and you just gotta go with it. Now, I've got a problem with keeping my mouth shut when somebody makes a comment. Yeah, listen to him go shit. You know, out of all the sperm making its way up the canal, you were the only one looking at the other ones going, well, hello, sailor. But I turn around, I got a friend of mine, he's a little bit older than I am, and I DJ down at this Chuck Wagon gathering in Cedarville here in Kansas every Labor Day weekend. So if you get down there, come on down, have a good time. But one night when everything was done and said, had everything packed up, we were gonna go drink some beers and just have a good time. And he's like, I think I'll come join you boys. And all of a sudden, about 2 seconds later, here comes his wife. She goes, oh, no, you're not. She goes, you're going to stay here and watch this fire because I got to be up at 2 in the morning wrapping meat. And without missing a beat, I looked at him and said, oh, you guys are still using condoms? She's like, really? Yeah, can you imagine that one? What's the good for you? I don't know. Gosh. But, you know, even I can't stop from making stupid comments, and I'll tell you why. I had getting a snack for the road. I would get these old Wisconsin beef sticks. They're really good. Well, the store was out of them one day, and I've always heard that the turkey ones are healthier for you, and they're not too bad. And I'm like, well, I'll give it a shot. So I turned around, I grabbed a pack of them, and I had a couple of them, and I'm like, oh, it's nasty as can be. So I called my wife up, and I said, you know what, when I get home, these things are coming out of my truck. She goes, why is that? I said, well, first of all, they're nasty as can be. Second of all, they're dry as can be. She goes, oh, let me guess, you only like moist beef sticks, huh? So see, this is the kind of family I'm in. Now my son, I feel sorry for him because he's got to follow behind me and turn around and go, man, Dad, why'd you have to do that? There was one time when his wife at the time was coming home, and she was coming home from Air Force basic training. He's like, Dad, I'm happy as can be, but yet I'm mad as can be. I said, why is that? He goes, well, they won't let me off of work tonight. I said, well, what the hell you want your mom and I to do? Vacate the premises so you guys can turn the couch towards the fireplace and have freaky sex? He goes, no. I said, fine, we will then. He's like, I didn't need to hear that. So I tell everybody, you know, with all the stuff that I say and do, I'm going to go to hell in a handbasket. But you know what? I'm not going to make it there because I'm going to end up living forever. Because I can picture it now in my mind that I'm going to be in that basket and God's going to take it and put it on Satan's doorstep knock on the door, step back and say, watch this. Satan's going to come on out there, pick up the basket. Seriously? God, I know we're not on speaking terms, but seriously? So I'm not even going to be able to stay there, and purgatory straight out ain't going to want me, so guess what? You guys got me forever. She's like, no, go away. I heard the laugh. She's like, well, it's because it's midgets up here. You know, and there's times where I swear my wife is like a referee. She turns around and keeps giving me technical fouls. Times I think she's a bull rider MC because I can't stay on the full 8 seconds. Or she's going to be the new host for Family Feud because I keep hearing, try again. So, no, we cannot win. Now, how many of you got older brothers and sisters? One guy out of the whole... Oh, wait a minute. You're short like me, so don't feel bad, okay? We can get taller. Hey, when somebody get her a booster seat, she can't even see the show. So, here, I'll take my hat off. Now, can you see me? Other people are going to put it back on. I can't. Well, I'm here to tell you, I'm number 10 out of 13. And well, yeah, I know. It's like, I'm the oldest out of the last 4 from my mom. Now, when you got older brothers, they tend to bully you. And I had one brother that sat there and said, you know what? Go get me a couple of beers. I said, no. He goes, I said, go get me a couple of beers. I was like, fine, I'm going to hook his ass up. So I go in there, I grab him a couple of beers, I shake them both on up, took them on out there and said, here you go. Stood back and decided to watch the show. So he turned around, he takes them, and he's doing that big shot thing, got one in each hand, popping open with the one finger. And you're right, it went up both arms. And I found out a couple of things at that point in time. Not only can I run very fast, but I can run very, very fast while I'm crying from laughing. It was hard to see that tree that I hit, but yeah, I could still run from laughing. Well, as time goes on, I'm the oldest one out of the last 4, and of course, teenagers are going to be teenagers. Turn around, we had a party at the house. And I had one of those warning lights you put on top of a car, like when you broke down. Looks like a police light. Well, at the time frame, this ought to date me, I had an Oldsmobile Delta 88. Kind of just should have a foghorn instead of a regular coming through. Well, I told a buddy of mine, I said, let's have a little fun. He goes, what? I was like, you'll see. We go around town right quick, and I lived at the bottom of 2 hills. I said, when we get halfway down the bottom of this hill, I want you to plug that light in. I'm going to flip the headlights on. We're going to come into the driveway. He's like, all right. And it went off like clockwork. He plugged that light in. I flipped the headlights on. We flew in that driveway. And we had a gravel driveway. It wasn't. So, sure enough, it was like cockroaches when you flip the lights on. All you saw was beers being dropped, kids going that way, one that way. And what makes the story even more funnier, this was at our house, I hear, you can come back, Michelle, it's just your brother. My own sister hauled ass out of the house. Couldn't even stick around for it. So, yeah, it's real fun. Now, like I said, being a truck driver, you see signs all across America, and let me tell you, some of the things you see, you just look at it and go, And with my evil mind, mine tends to go, wow. I'll give you one here. I saw a sign when I was in Delaware. It was in front of this bar. It's like one of them ones with the chalkboard. You turn around, you write your own little thing on there. This one said, beer and crabs to go. And I got to thinking, you know what? That's kind of how my last relationship ended. Come to think of it, I think that was the name of the bar where we met, too. Down in Wichita, Kansas, my wife and I saw this one, and I wouldn't have believed it if we hadn't seen it. This was at a graveyard. It said, help wanted, apply within. I think they got enough in there to help out. Shoot, see one out there? And once again, my buddy who's a mechanic, he's going to be going, well, that straight out ain't right. I saw one, there was a van that was broke down on the side of the road. In big bold letters, it says, I'm your mechanic, nobody around. I'm like, you know what? There's somebody still waiting for their car to be fixed. You hear stupid things too around America. Stopped at this McDonald's. Went in there and I ordered a large mocha iced coffee. Girl behind the counter had the nerve to look at me and say, would you like that hot or cold? Large mocha iced coffee. Yeah, would you? Oh, that was dumb, huh? You think? My wife and I ate at a Mexican restaurant. My wife, she is one hell of a woman because she's just as quick-witted. We sat down, guy brought us our chips and salsa, brought us our margaritas, brought us our food and said, would you like anything else? My wife said, yeah, how about something to eat with? He goes, oh, would you like some silverware? She goes, no, chopsticks would be nice. It's like I said, you turn around, you gotta have fun with life. You just can't let it go. Some of the comments I make, now this might be a little bit more because my comedy PG-16 and higher. Like, he's like, yeah, you wish you were higher. You ain't but about 4'12". He's like, but there's a buddy of mine when I was driving the truck. He was being sarcastic with a mechanic that was working on my truck. Now the mechanic, he's sitting there chewing on sunflower seeds and he'd spit out the shells just like normal. About that time frame, that driver, he turned around and said, you know what, why don't you just suck on my... About that time frame, he spit out 2 shells. I said, looks like he did. He didn't enjoy them at all. Shoot, going around the country, you hear certain things too. I'd shut up a truck driver real quick because he got on there, it was real vulgar. And I'm, granted, I'm PG-16 and higher, but, there's certain things I don't care to hear. So he goes, you know what? My penis was in your wife last night. Threw up and was not good at all. About that time frame, my buddy who was in the front truck was sitting there just putting in a fresh thing of dip when I chimed in and said, well, driver, maybe you shouldn't have drank it right away. He said he'd like to spit his dip all over that windshield and that CB went dead quiet. Not another word was spoken out of that man's. How do you come back from that? When he'd like to know now I was only about, like I said, 5'12". But, yeah, say again? 4'12". Now, I had read about this, but I heard about it from a buddy of mine, so I went and followed up with it. There is a country called China. Some of y'all may have heard of it. It's on the back of your shirts, I'm sure. But they serve up what's known as a donkey burger, an actual donkey burger. Now, I got thinking about this. How can you go into a restaurant that serves up burgers and look that woman behind the counter dead in the face and say, I'd like an order of your ass, please? I'm like, really? Would you like a pie to go with that? Because it's right around the corner. About that time frame, you'd be sitting there staring there going, no, but I got a taste for a milkshake right about now. He turned around, he read another one about pillowcases. Now, KFC had come up with their own. They had their logo on there. Now, can you imagine you're that person that's sitting there restless, sleeping, eating your pillow, trying to get it just right. Just ain't working, and you sit there squeezing it and everything. I got thinking, you doing something like that, doesn't that give the whole meaning to choking a chicken? So my buddy turned around, sat there and said, well, what kind of pillowcase do you got? I said, well, I got Toy Story, to be honest with you. True story on that one, all right? You guys, yeah, you kind of fit. Well, he goes, Toy Story. I said, yeah, it's got Buzz Lightyear on one side, Woody on the other. I said, when my wife's feeling frisky, I got it on Buzz Lightyear. Buzz Lightyear to the rescue. And once we finish, I'll flip it over to Woody and say, you're welcome, ma'am. About that time frame, you're ejected from the game. So, but I didn't come up with too much material here due to the fact I wasn't expecting this much time here, but I'm going to leave you with this part here. Karaoke. How many of you like to do karaoke? Yeah. Yep. Karaoke. Do you know that's an acronym? Keep all rednecks away and off of karaoke equipment. Which also translates into a redneck who can't sing worth a damn. Because I was caught in a wrong spot at the wrong time one night when I was doing karaoke. Live in Junction City, and at the time frame, the only place you could do karaoke was at this gay bar. And I went in there with my girlfriend at the time, and I did my bid. I sat down, I sat there drinking my beer. Well, DJ hadn't called up the next person. So I'm like, this song sounds so familiar. So I go on up there and I look at it and I realize, oh, I do know the song. So I start singing it. Now, I realize I'm actually singing Chuck Berry's My Ding-a-Ling in a gay bar halfway through it. And that bartender's looking around the corner going, what? Got a standing ovation for it. Fast forward down the line. My wife and I turned around before we got married. We went to a costume party. She's like, what do you want to go as? Well, she hadn't given me a wedding date at the time, and I said, well, how about we go as bride and groom? Now, dumbass me left it at just that. Guess who went as bride? Guess who went as groom? I was about the hideous bride you ever saw, and she looked like the most jacked up version of Charlie Chaplin you ever seen, all right? So we're on out there, and the kids actually requested me to do My Ding-a-Ling. So there is a video out there on YouTube of me doing Chuck Berry's My Ding-a-Ling in a wedding dress. And what makes it more funny is the kids decided to come out there and join me. Like, how can you pass this up? My wife posted it 2 days later on YouTube, so it wasn't something I was trying to plan. It just happened. But we have some funny moments. We've been together 16, 17 years. So, yeah, it's been a fun time, fun ride. When I first met her, she told me, she goes, you know what, when I first met you, I thought you was gay. I'm like, what? Now, I used to teach country dancing on Wednesday nights. She goes, yeah, I thought you were gay. I said, what made you think I was gay? She goes, it was that purse you were bringing in every Wednesday night. What purse? And I got thinking, it was my camera case, because every now and then we had photo opportunities. I'm like, I said, you're talking about my camera case. She goes, you say camera, I say purse. Fine. That's like I said, second question for you. Didn't being with all these women clue you in I was nowhere near being gay? She goes, well, gay men hang out with women too to go shopping. Hey, fine. Final question for you. If you thought I was gay, why did you sleep with me later down the line? She said, I wanted to see if I could turn a gay man straight, and guess what? It worked. She's something else, I tell you. But I wouldn't give her on up for anything in the world, and people know this. But I hope you all had a good time tonight. Turn around. You can bet next time I come, I will have a little bit more material than this. I've got a whole bunch in my arsenal, but I do appreciate the time we do get on up here. And all you can do, people, is laugh at life. Turn around. Don't pass up an opportunity to make a comment, because you never know what's going to happen. You might make somebody's day. They make a what? Which means I just got thinking about one more for you. They going, isn't this guy done yet? No, short people have always got something to say. Had a party at a friend's house one night, and I turned around. I was holding my own big time, but I had to use the bathroom really bad. So I turned around and had asked him, hey, where's your bathroom at? He goes, well, down the hallway. I said, my wife's in that one. You got another one? Now, this particular moment in time, I couldn't speak English, but I could speak drunkenese really good. And, I was doing pretty good, feeling like a superhero, because I was holding up every wall in that house that night. So he said, well, there's one in our bedroom. I said, okay. So I went in there to go do my business, but now, all of a sudden, my stomach started to turn. I'm like, well, we're done. It's winter time. My buddy said, whatever you do on your way home, do not let him roll that window down. Well, hell, when you're drunk and out of your mind, you get hot, you get cold, you get hot, you get cold. So window down, window up, window down, window up. Got about 1 mile from Junction City. Now, like I said, this is wintertime. Snow has been out on the ground. I turned around, sat there, and went to open up that door. I had one hand on the door frame, the other hand on the door frame. I'm opening up my eyes. I'm in the snowdrift on the side of I-70. They said it was like when you put a book into a pile of dust. Poof. When I opened it on up, all I could hear was my wife laughing her butt off, the kids laughing, her cousin sitting there saying, we got to get him up out of this snowdrift, and her oldest boy saying, you know what, if he throws up, I'm going to lose it. Guess what? I already did. And I'm here to tell you the salt consistency they put on I-70, you get better results out of a margarita, okay? That same guy, we had a party at his house. Well, it was actually more of a dinner party. And he's got a square table. Now his wife, who just had surgery, she was laying in the living room. She can see the dinner table from where she was at. And, well, his oldest boy was sitting to my left, and then my buddy sitting at the corner table, and the kids spread out around the rest of it. This is one of them things I told you about. I'm going to hell in a handbasket and just can't keep my mouth shut. Because their 11-year-old boy who was sitting across from me looked at his dad and said, "Dad, have you ever had any regrets in your life?" I said, "Dude," I said, "How old are you?" He goes, 11. I said, "He had that 12 years ago." I know you guys are going, "Yeah, you're going to hell." Second time came on up, his oldest boy kept referring to certain things as a horse's ass. His girlfriend sitting at the table said, "Do you even know what a horse's ass looks like?" I said, "I do. He's sitting next to me, between me and his dad." And my buddy starts laughing, and you could hear his wife in the living room, who just had surgery, go, like she was choking. It was like, nope. Final thing came when I had these little cakes cut on up for everybody to eat for dessert. He passed around, 2 slices left. His boy, that 11-year-old, turned around and sat there and said, "Dad, can I have one of those slices?" He goes, "Well, if nobody else does, sure, go for it." Nobody did, so I got on up. I went to the kitchen. You could go out into the hallway and circle back into the dining room. And as I did, I came in. Now, what happens if somebody scares the living daylights out of you? Turn around while you're eating or drinking, you start choking on it or you spit it out, right? Not this boy. I came in behind him and I went, that boy turned around and went, "No," shoved the whole cake in his mouth, and his mom said, "Did you just shove that whole thing in your mouth?" About that time frame, me and my buddy go, "Yeah, he did." Now, I couldn't keep quiet. I turned around and sat there and said, "But don't worry, Mom and Dad, he's setting you up for retirement because he's going to make good in the movie since he has no gag reflex." And I was like, yeah. I'm telling you, see, I heard all the groaning. Yep, I'm going to hell in a handbasket. But final joke for the night is, people, like I said, we've been together so long that there's a phrase I can use about my wife, and she'll back me on up, and that's the fact that I can make her gag in the bedroom still. Now, granted, it's because of the gas coming out from underneath the covers, but I can use it, and she won't back me on up, right? Hope you guys had a good time. Thanks, Manhattan. Have a good night.